I'm just going to turn the mic over to him because I want him to bring our attention to where he's at with the church. You can hear me anytime. Go ahead.
Well, good, I guess, evening. I know it's late, so I just want to reflect on two documents. The one y'all really know about is Open Wide Our Hearts. The one you may not know about is called Two Rivers. Both of these documents came from the United States Catholic Conference of Bishops. I know y'all been studying the Open Wide Your Hearts. I'll reflect on a couple of paragraphs that I think are very important. And I'll talk a little bit about Two Rivers and talk to you about what the USCCB is doing now. In fact, there's a meeting now. They have their fall meeting, and there's an action item to review the Native American ministry and how to move forward. But just a quick reflection on the document, Open Wide Your Hearts, as it began to reflect on the Native American experience, the African American experience, and the Hispanic experience. This is what it said about the Native American experience. Native Americans experienced deep wounds in the age of colonization and expansion, wounds that largely remain unhealed and strongly impact generations to this day. A fact that St. John Paul II recognized when he met with the Native peoples in 1987. Colonial and later U.S. policies toward Native American communities were often violent, paternalistic, and were directed toward theft of their land. The results were massive forced relocation of people, such as the forced removal of the Cherokee people from the southeast, the southwest, called the Trail of Tears, which we saw in the Navajo, the Long War, where thousands of men, women, and children died during these forced removals. And in many boarding schools, and we saw in the film in orphanages, the objective was to Americanize Native children by forcing them to abandon all facets of their culture. Now, during this time, there were missions, and you saw that still there's a barrier to the abuse of the indigenous people with provided forms of protection. Although not encounters with the missionaries were benign, a number of missionaries that we saw heroically defended Native Americans as they sought to bring the good news of Jesus Christ to them. They mentioned the Jesuit Father Pierre Saint Smith and Franciscan Anselm were there. Also, you saw a lot about Saint Terry Picaretha, Nicholas William Black Elk, and the modern La Floridian mission. But yet, it's important to understand that yet in the art of natural social justice, these acts done in the power of Christ's Spirit are overshadowed by the devastation caused by policies of expansion, fueled by racist attitudes that led to near devastation of Native American peoples and their cultures. And the effects of this evil remain visible in the great difficulties experienced by Native American communities today: poverty, unemployment, inadequate health care, poor schools, exploitation of natural resources, disputes over land ownership are all factors that cannot and should not be ignored. The truth we must face is straightforward. When one culture meets another, lack of awareness and understanding often lead to grossly distorted value judgments and prejudice. Now, the second document, called Two Rivers, lifted up the uniqueness and the gifts that the Native American community gives to the Catholic Church. These include inspiring holiness, restorative justice, family, church evangelization. And Pope Francis has spoken on how Native American cultures reverence creation, show care for the environment, and live in balance with the domains of the world. Also, the central core of Native American cultures is the family and is centered on marriage. So what is the plan? So the Two Rivers document was written in 2018-19 timeframe, and there was 4 priority areas. We wanted to strengthen Native American Catholic education. We wanted to push for systemic change with all the land issues. We wanted to develop ways to reach out to the greater Catholic community. And I think this is one way to do it, to reach out to the greater Catholic community to develop understanding and to evangelize the Native American community. Now, the Catholic bishops met in spring and June of their meeting. They had action item 3, and this is what it said. The conference voted to approve the development of a new formal statement and comprehensive vision for the Native American and Alaskan Native ministry. And the plan envisioned two things: encompassing the concerns and listening to the concerns of the Native American communities, and to develop a dialogue to develop ways of evangelization and matters of social justice. Now, in the fall meeting, which starts tomorrow, we'll hear an update on that plan to see how far the committee is going. I want to mention that this summer in the Diocese of Alexandria, they will have the annual Tekakwitha Conference. That's going to be a large gathering in Alexandria. Bishop Marshall is sponsoring that. At a more local level, on December 1st, I have my quarterly meeting with the Louisiana Conference of Catholic Bishops, and this will be the second time this agenda item will be on the agenda to discern a little bit better what we can do. We certainly also monitoring any state and federal legislation that might affect the Native American. I must say, I'm a Knight of Columbus. Now, I didn't understand how deep the Knights had gone in terms of, so thanks for any Knights that are out here or what y'all might be doing with the Knights of Columbus. And I would also mention that in certain dioceses, like Houma Thibodeau has a Native American office. And there's a lot of tribes in that area, the Terrebonne, the Fouche area. You also might know this topic, there's two great documentaries on PBS. One thing they didn't touch too much upon was the forced adoptions that happened. But what's really interesting about that is the way the Native American spirituality heals wounds. They use their deep spirituality, the drum beat, the circle of the hoops. All that is central to healing. In closing, I would just say, from Catholic Charity's perspective and social services, when the oil spill hit, a lot of the communities were impacted by that, and we were there to help. But in closing, I would just say, this is a closing from the document. Native American cultures and the good news. So Native American cultures and the good news are not two competing ideas. They can and do merge, as can be seen in how God's grace fulfills the lives of so many Native Americans. With deeper understanding of the Native American Catholic community, we as a church are better able to unify both the faith and the cultures that guide Catholic Native American ministry into a great gift to Christ and to his church.
We just went through a very important time for the local Native Americans. Some people call it All Saints, okay? And they think it's a Catholic religion. Do they like candles and rum? We have lost those things. We were able through the Catholic Church, and the ones that was converts or the children of the converts remain doing that. That is an Indian ceremony here that was adopted by the church, the same as they said with the Hispanic community. They brought in their culture, or like the other tribe was saying. And I said Hispanic because we are missing and we have let society make us think all Indians look the same. Okay? What I liked about this film, I told you, when I looked at it, did y'all see what color the old ancestors were? What color? Did y'all miss that? So what is light came out of darkness. Are y'all with me? But how it came out of darkness is based on what European or conqueror married them. Okay? So if I walk in a room and all the Indians look like white folks, I'm in the wrong room. Because then that means somebody set the deck. Okay? But we can see through the militaries and the missions and the conquerors, we can see a diverse of colors in American Indian community. And you begin to see cultures from other people intermingle with the locals. This is why I love this film. Because you're looking at what was going on the northern western border. You see what I'm saying? Now, what was going on the northern eastern border? And what was going on down south? Okay, let me do a little history for you real quick. I'll talk fast. First of all, he mentioned Houma, Louisiana. Well, that wouldn't have been a part of Louisiana. Those Indians would have been in Spain while I was in France. Are y'all with me? The Mississippi divided us. So now I'm seeing universities have been crooked too. Okay, Tom, let's not leave out these history writers trying to get their thesis written. They go out and they write something, and if you all buy it, then it becomes the gospel. We need to check some of the lies that's written. You all read the book, The Lies My Teacher Told Me? And then, oh, somebody did. You know what I'm talking about? Look, there goes another one. I have a reading club, right, Stu? My people have to read. And if you have not read The Lies My Teacher Told Me, can y'all agree with me? They need to have a copy of that at their home. Am I correct? Because we allowing our children to go to school. Now, they killed the Indian, but they saved the man. So if they use that technique on us, what you think they're doing to your children? Come on now. Well, go around, come around. The dream catcher is a complete circle, 360. No matter where you start on, if you're going to come back to the point of the beginning, what it is a complete circle. So whatever someone did or doing to us as Indians is going to make a circle back to you and your family and your children and your grandchildren. It's time to lie stop. And it's an honor to work with this man. I don't want to ask somebody else if I'm going to deeper to come forward because he's trying to hide. Deacon Reggie, you need to be up here. You're not going to hide back there in that corner, so they got a chair right there. I think I've been hard on these two men. But they respect me and I respect them highly. I want y'all to know that. Deacon Reggie, no, you're not getting away. I'm serious. You need to be right there. No. We ain't doing that. No. The people that out there on that camera can't see you until you come sit right here. Come on, I want them to see Deacon Reggie. Because I think he thought I was crazy too, but he been there with me. Way before they made these videos, any of this come out, there was a Chief Warhorse running around here telling Father Hall and Archbishop Hannon about the black Indian suffrage. I'm talking 40-some years ago. I was real young then. So now I'm at the age, being that I work with Avery Alexander, I learned now you don't ask, you demand. So that's why I told him to come on up here. I learned that from some strong, good leaders. And Father Hall was like that. And y'all remember Archbishop Hannon? That's the way he was, correct? Anybody remember? Yes. I had Archbishop Hannon tell me years ago in Pearl River, if you believe what you say, you should fight for it till you die. Mm-hmm. I said, but I'm Baptist. He said, but aren't you working in a Catholic church? I said, but my people are Catholic Baptists. He said, if y'all been Catholic Baptists, you need to stay Catholic Baptists. He said, because if it wasn't for the Catholic Baptists, we wouldn't have none of these churches. Y'all know why he said that? All the fairs, the dinners, the beanbags, y'all know this. Built these churches and the cakewalks. And we didn't let religion put a barrier there. We all participated in this community to build stuff. But we have allowed the Indian community, while we were helping everybody else build, nobody helped us build back. So our society halls fell, as I told Deacon Reggie. Society halls fell. When people did come and you ask them to help you, entertainers will come, but they take advantage of you too. So instead of society halls coming back to help do what they have been doing, they start becoming blues club, get-together places. It's like we don't have enough of that. The schools that we had began to be closed down and public school system opens. So that was a form of integration right there. And that integration was to remove your culture. So now you've adopted other people's culture. When you send your children from home, I don't like my babies going to school under 5 because they're still a baby. And so if we send them out into the system young, we weaken their family cultures and ties. So when we look at America, when we turn the television on, that is politically correct society. The madness, when people can go up against your White House and your Congress. Don't you know there's no limit for someone to come up against you? Learn from the Indians. We should know. We had our homes. Somebody wanted them, they took them. What made that circle not turn on you now? Who's planning for your home and your land right now? My people had it for thousands of years, and it did not stay. You only had it for maybe a few decades. Is it secure? So I go to the church to say, if we fail the Indians, the church failed. Because there were treaties made with us, but not kept. Our United States and the church. But it wasn't God that wrote the treaty. It was man. And man normally make treaties because of some hidden agenda or greed. And it's time to go back to the table and do something that we have not done to purify our heart. My tribal members that's Catholic, that wanted to walk away from their Catholic church, I say you go back. And I went and met with their leaders and said, why are my people wanting to leave your church? I'm sending them back. Because if you take the spiritual part of us away, you have knocked the cornerstone that holds us up. Indians were spiritual before the white man came. See, the code, you leave it out there. What we learned from the white man was his culture incorporated into our culture. But the white man have also taken our culture and taken it away from us. Ceremony of the Dead are in the Hispanic community in Mexico, our fellow cousins, they celebrate it as the Feast of the Dead too. It's a holiday that's over 3,000 years old. I heard the national media say this year, so little pieces of truth are starting to come out. But it's even older than that, okay? But so far they've documented, they've found enough stuff that was over 3,000 years old. That's before the Catholic Church came here. That's before the Europeans came here. We were doing this. And in the church, we need to give that back. The reason my Catholic family get the priest to go bless the graves is because they have incorporated that part with their religion. I'm Baptist. They called me one year and said, do you need the priest to come? No, I don't need him to come bless the grave. I need him to come help us. See, I'm a straightforward person. Faith without works are dead. And we all talk on faith, but when it comes down to work and truth, we depart. And now our country is being destroyed. Everybody want to call somebody outside, and far as I can see, if you talk to the Dakota, everybody outside. And the person who was here is really being treated less than an outsider. So if we want to show the world an example of real healing, because we look bad around the world, y'all know that, right? We look like the richest, stupidest, backwardest, religiously, we can't go point our finger at no country and say, clean up your mess until we start cleaning our mess. I had people show me, I didn't know that about the lady that I'm Baptist. So I started having Hispanic people coming to me, saying, you know what, you doing the work that God told our people was going to happen. And I deny that stuff. They're like, I don't want to be a preacher, I don't want to be a deacon, I'm none of that. Because in the Bible they said they're going to go to hell for the work that they did not did for their people. So I'm leaving that to the leaders of the church. Because that's where judgment starts, is with the leadership of our churches. Why would God start judging who outside and not judging who have capitalized in his name first? Okay? So my thing is, Tom and I and Deacon Reggie is hoping we can come up with a way to teach back. And we need your input. We can write some pamphlets and books, and we can do some podcasts. But we need to bring the Indian community back into society. Because if we're not a part of society, who do you reach back for to show your foundation? The land that you live on comes off of agreements through treaties. So if the treaty is not good for me, then what does it mean for you? It doesn't work for you either, right? They gave us an opportunity, I use the word opportunity, with a laugh, under the Dancing Rabbit Treaty to either go to prison, I'm just going to tell you how it is, go to the military prison, which was under the Department of War. That's what the Indian Reservation was under, the War Department. So it was to be exiled to prison so white people could have our home. Just let's really picture that. You've been there for thousands of years, but somebody want what you have. Now you have no choice because they came and outnumbered you on a political system that you wasn't a part of and didn't have a vote to. And they voted to remove you to prison. And we want to know why we're in trouble in America. There's a curse on America. Because we are not admitting the power, the growth came off not only slavery. They took about slavery. Slavery came afterwards. It was what happened to the Indian first. I need to find reparation for the slaves. Well, reparation for the Indians should come before reparation for the slave. Because you took the Indian lands and brought the slave to it. And I want y'all to understand, when you start saying slaves, there was not just black slaves in America. Y'all heard they said Indians was the first slave. And they were trading them from here to West Africa. Now today they do DNA and say, you know what, we found that same blood in West Africa. Did you go back in the history and find you shipped some people over there? Tons of them to clear them off the land. So who didn't go to the reservation in Oklahoma was shipped to West Africa. See what I'm saying? And then it made way for the newcomers. But the church made agreements for us. And there were priests who lost their lives. Right now, if I ask y'all, do y'all know where Bonfakai is? Any of y'all live here. Where's Bonfakai? Anybody know where Bonfakai is? Raise your hand. Okay, I hear the lady back here. I'm going to come back to y'all. Miss over there. Where's Bonfakai?
It's out past off of like Thompson Road by Bonfakai. Is that what you're talking about?
It was a place named Bonfakai.
That's the only
Say it again?
Bonfakai I know.
Okay, that's because y'all newcomers. Now watch this. I heard some hand up over there from Lacombe. Do y'all know where Bonfakai is?
Same thing as the household.
Okay, Bonfakai on the end. Was at any time you crossed that railroad track, you had just crossed into the last piece of Bonfakai. Y'all see what I'm saying? But I can ride around and see Selma, Fritchie, and all these people who came here, and I'm not picking with no one. If you're in that family, we need to meet and talk. How do the latter get the names and the older is left out? That's genocide. That's erasing my history. And most people move here, have another place to go where their birth records come from. But you move to somebody else's place and erase their birthplace. That don't sound fair, do it? So we're talking about seventh generation. Seventh generation for me is not going to even know what this place is. Because everybody's stamping their name on something to be famous. And just like you're erasing ours, whoever names out, they're going to get erased. Because if we was here for thousands of years and they erased ours, they're going to erase whatever name they're putting out there. Bonfakai on the end. I'm going to keep saying on the end. I'm going to shut up. Sharon, you do have the other part that you wanted to show, correct? Or we were doing that?
I think we're gonna,
We're going to pass that
Just
to
do
another
this.
go. She wants this. Okay. Slidell was 88 acres. 88 acres in downtown Slidell. Slidell was built off of encampment by carpetbaggers and crooks to take the Indian life. In 1830, it was documented, even by the military, that these encampments was jumping up to remove the Indians who refused to go to Oklahoma to prison. They were offered under this Rabbit Treaty a piece of land and pledged to America. That was in the treaty. Now you got to remember, we were not in this area of West Florida. We were not a part of Louisiana until 1808 and officially 1812. Y'all with me?
Yes.
So you're not even in Louisiana when you're talking to me right now. I'm in West Florida. But somebody can take and change the name and call it Louisiana, Slidell. So when you start thinking West Florida, when you're reading, you're going to go way to Pensacola and start there from West Florida. West Florida starts at Pensacola and go to west and east West, Feliciana. And that's way over there past Baton Rouge area, right?
Right.
All of that was West Florida. Now, I hear people saying, who was the first people here? Well, the Catholic Church got this documented pretty good. Because I don't care if they were French or Spanish or Indian. When the United States came into here in 1808, the church was already established. You see what I'm saying? The Cabildo was already here before America. Do you know West Florida go all the way to the river, Mississippi River in New Orleans? Do y'all know where the original New Orleans is? Cross the river and go to Algiers. Y'all with me? So the history book is misteaching you because when you read New Orleans, you're thinking, I'm going to the French Quarter. Do you know what the French Quarter was? The French was dying trying to fix food. I'm trying to give you a lot of history in a short period of time because I'm a walking book, okay? But the French could not take the bugs and the mosquitoes like the Spanish and all the rest of them. So the natives helped them learn. See, we got to stop doing that, I think. We help people become comfortable to take our stuff. Okay? So we fed them. We helped them kill snakes. And then they became the snake that bit us. Okay? Because there was a law in Louisiana where, and what mainly West Florida started with the French. Local people moving in, Europeans could not go get their own food and meat. They had to buy it from the Indians because they were killing and poisoning themselves trying to put food out. And that's the birth of what we call the French quarters. The Indians would have to serve the French at the French market, the Spanish at the Spanish market, and the Germans, y'all with me now?
Yes.
It wasn't them helping us, it was us helping them.
Yes.
So we got to flip this coin back around. I have two grandbabies, I brought them with me. Gavin and Taylor, where y'all at? Stand up. My granddaughter, the first year she went to school, she come home, she said, I don't think I want to be an Indian. I said, why? Because they say we eat people and kill people.
Yes.
My grandson, 4 years old, he's scared of school. He said, I want to go to Momo school. So our books need to reflect Indians in more than one color and our true history. My youngest daughter, I wish she was here, she was told this line in junior high before I took her out of public school that the reason Indians teeth are bad because we chew leather. You see what I'm saying? Just come out of school. So if this is the kind of stuff being taught, I pity the people who are allowing their children to learn this stuff. Because if you are miseducated, that means you are uneducated. The stuff we're talking about, when I'm talking to Tony, I tell them all the time, go dig in your archives. I ain't never been in the archives. But what I'm saying is in the archives. It's in the archive of the Vatican. It's in the archive of France, Spain, and Britain. What it's not in is our schools. And some of these old books and records need to be brought back. And you know how y'all used to have when I was young, my cousin used to have catechism? Add a page in there on American Indian. That's all I'm trying to say. Just add a page locally on what happened here. Now, Bonfaka is fixing to be wiped out. In a couple of weeks, Sharon and I hope to put a video together asking people to help us save the last of Bonfaka. Bonfaka is recorded as an ancient village that my people come from. One of my grandfathers is on the Dancing Rabbit Treaty, what they broke. Okay? The average Indian looked my color through the Jim Crow law. People were able to remove us and take our spot. Do y'all hear me? That's why the Indians don't look like me. If they were really Indian, somebody said all of them, some of them, they wouldn't be worried about getting sick. They wouldn't have obesity and high blood pressure if they would practice the old ways to heal bodies. Because we control in our life obesity. Obesity is a sign of you got too much and you're eating too much of it. You need to be shared. We need to go back and think the way the Indians were thinking. One thing, if you look at them old pictures, you didn't see no obese Indian dress, did y'all? Okay, they ate. But they have a lot to do to work it up. And I ain't calling nobody bad or none of that. But just check it yourself. The doctor said, even with COVID, underlying conditions cause us to die quicker than other things. Y'all understand? Y'all know they brought smallpox to us and all that other stuff. How did the Indians survive? Well, when you tear down all the forests, you're tearing down the medicine that can be healing you. Because you'd rather see a paved street or a shopping mall than to see medicine grow and trees that filters the air.
Amen.
Trees have a purpose to it, it's a filtration. I live in the woods, man. And if the Lord bless me, I'm going to keep them trees there. These storms slow down, stop knocking 30 and 40 down at a time. I'm finna got to start planting some now. But clean air comes from trees. And we talking about we godly Christian people, well, we got to bring that back into the church. Save the earth. If you save the earth, you're saving you. Because if the earth is being destroyed, your water and your food is being destroyed. We as natives are trying to tell you all, I'm listening at the Dakota. Listen at us. If it happened to us in this small period of time since the European came in contact, or you just going to start telling your grandbabies goodbye on this generation. Because you don't have a strong foundation to the ground and they have destroyed most of the earth. So what do you have to turn to? So I'm here asking anyone in here that want to be a part of making a change here and give a model to this man that we can use by us working together. We can change the world from this one room.
Amen.
Tonight. Thank you very much. Deacon Reggie, you're going to have to say something. I hear him in the spirit. So go get Deacon Reggie.
The people on Zoom asked you to say your name again because they didn't hear
My
it.
name is Chief Elwin Warhorse Gillum. I saw on the internet somebody say I was a fake, so I got one of my cousins that grew up with my mom. He's out. People say, she's not from Lacombe. I'm from Lacombe and Beaufort, but they stealing it. But I brought one of my cousins, well, he came on his own, him and his wife. And he'll tell you I was raised a spoiled brat. His mom helped do that. And I did not appoint myself chief. His mom and them was a part of making me that. Okay? So you can't lie when your family there. So I'm telling y'all out there on TV land, the only reason Chief don't do too much talking no more, people are taking and they're corning people with it. I mean, that's another day, another story. But Deacon Reggie have been an important part at St. Genevieve's, helping to make this happen for us to even be here today. So Deacon Reggie, we want to hear from you.
Okay, you got to pull that mic down because we had turned that one off. It was echoing, so just push that one down.
As Chief said, I'm deacon at St. Genevieve in Slidell. Originally, I'm from New Orleans, and I've been in Slidell now at St. Genevieve for about 13 years. And when I first came over to St. Genevieve, I had an opportunity to meet Chief and learn about the history of Slidell and the indigenous people of Beaufort. And, you know, I was just amazed by the history, you know, of that area. And during that time, Chief had several projects that she was working on, and she asked how could the church help her. And I was able to make contact with Tom Costanza. He was over Catholic Charities at the time, and we were able to meet with Chief and get some things going. You know, so I guess that's the role that I've played over the years. I've been like the in-between person for the Beaufort indigenous people and Catholic Charities and the Catholic Church.
That's an important spot.
And we appreciate you.
He was sick, and I said, Lord, you know what? He over there sick. He can't die. He's not going to die. I claim in the name of Jesus. He's getting back up because we got work to do. So I ain't even letting him die. I'm telling y'all that now. I can become very aggravating. So he ain't dying. No. Get on hold for this because this is an important mission, and God have everything in place. We have the right pope at the right time. We have the right leadership with the bishops. You know, Tom thought I was going to feel sorry for his position, but God put him there because I prayed for God to put him in a little bit of a spot. So I don't feel sorry for him because he was enjoying Catholic Charities, but he had too much to give to stay in that spot. And you know, Tom know me not only as an Indian, but Tom I don't know if I told you about this, Deacon Reggie. He came to SCLC National and found out Chief Warhol is known national and international. He was like, wow. He found out I am a queen. So, what I'm saying is, I am a civil rights leader also. But Tom came into my world, and I'm in his world. And Tom know my voice can go a long ways, and I know his can go a long ways. So you have two powerful people with a third one that say he's the mediator. We're going to let him be that. And with you all, we cannot lose, can we, guys?
No.
We can't forget about Kevin Fitzpatrick over there.
Well, Kevin, we talented around here, Kevin. We talented around here. See, we ain't gonna let nobody hide and say, I wasn't really with him, you know, because that's what people do. Come on up here so the people on the camera can see. The people in the room see it. We want faces to be seen. We proud of what we are doing. We're behind the scenes as we doing works that we are proud of. And I know the Catholic family members that's here, could I ask some of y'all to stand? They got something on the thing, but the ones that's here at the Sacred Heart, which people call St. Linus, which is another lie, but that's Sacred Heart, but now St. Genevieve's, where they merged into Sacred Heart, from across the bayou, in Bonfaka. Sacred Heart now is of the past in memory and history. And now people say St. Linus, which she went to school at Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart is a part of the mother church. And now I'm asking, can I get Joan? You are not hiding. Stand up, Joan, Abraham, Lorraine. My cousin right there is Lucre. Stand up. These are the ones from Sacred Heart, Macomb. Okay? So, Sacred Heart, Macomb, birth, Sacred Heart, Bonfaka.
Yes.
We are a family. And our history, you can't find it. That's why the young lady don't know where everything's at. So if she read a book, you ain't gonna even know you was reading about us. You're gonna think you was in Louisiana across the river on the other side. Our history was here before Louisiana. I am proud to see Sacred Heart Macomb, Sacred Heart / St. Genevieve's. And that's the way I do it as a leader. Because before integration, my family at Sacred Heart couldn't be at St. Genevieve's. Let's be for real.
Yes. Yes.
So now we're going to erase the history and all the work that their ancestors did. And the new people come and put a whole new history there. That overlay is not strong enough to stand up. And if we look at our Catholic Church, and I see the pastor back there, where you at, Father? You in here too.
He's right there.
Father, we are losing our members. Am I right about that? Because if you don't make a person feel proud of who they are, they're going to go somewhere else. Right, Father?
Yes.
And then there's a vulture, or should I say, there's wolves waiting on you not to take care of the flock of God. And them wolves is attacking out there, coining our people and taking their monies. Bring them back home.
Amen.
So we can watch and nourish each other. Not by the color of our skin, but by the content of our hearts. Not by our denomination, but by our true faith in God Almighty. I've been raised Catholic Baptist all my life. I just go in, if Abraham and them used to stand, I stand. I ain't know I was standing. If they kneel, I kneel. We go to weddings, they be all day, getting up now, up now. I don't like what we getting up for now. Just get up, and I'll get up. What we doing now? Go down. Y'all know we be dancing at the Baptist church. We ain't going up and down. We over there jamming. So because that was Catholic, they had like to come to gospel singers. Because our choirs be rocking. Okay? Now, they come over there and rock with us. We love each other. We still do. We work together as a family till people came and then start trying to push us apart. But if we fall, everything falls. Now I'm going to shut up and let this gentleman here introduce himself, because they see him out there on the camera. And if I'm not mistaken out there on the camera, if you can hear me, we also have Oklahoma Seminars, some of them on the web. Am I correct, Oklahoma?
They might be muted.
Okay.
We're having
Well,
technical
on here
problems.
is the, as people call seminar Indian, people say seminar, whatever you want to call them, they Creek and Choctaw. Because there was no such as a seminar tribe. That is Choctaw and Creek Indians. that came together to fight not to leave their land, okay? And that's another story, you learn that on another thing that I tell you about. But that is now a tribe, it was a formulated tribe in the United States allowed them to be a part of the treaty because of the work they had done. But that is not, how can I say, unoriginal historical tribalism like the Choctaw and Creek. So, we have them on there because they were the people who was removed from West Florida and taken to Oklahoma. And the Catholic Church promised the priest sit at the treaties. Am I right? And the priest says, I promise before the Catholic Majesty, see, you know I read my stuff, that the Catholic Majesty said we is children. So I told Bishop Henry one time, the church is supposed to be our mother, right? He said, yep. I said, you say the Pope is our father. He said, yep. I said, well, y'all guilty of being deadbeat dads and mom. Y'all left for us, you didn't feed us, you didn't help us. So you need to fix it. But it's in the treaty what I'm saying. The church was supposed to protect us from being robbed from the encampments that were set up like in Slidell. Okay? It's in the treaty. It was reported to the church, to the St. Louis Cathedral, that we were being robbed and killed over here. And it was reported by Father Adrian Woodcock. Okay? He said, I need help for my people. And he kept on writing and begging and pleading. But they would send no help. As the thieves who knew our people had their land here and promised not to be messed with, and they promised France they wasn't going to mess with us. And under the Pickaninny Treaty, right? The Catholic Majesty said, these are the godly people. These are our children. And they also said we was the best friend you could ever have. But they also said we could be the best enemy too. Didn't say that. Because we fought in these wars, producing 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, and 100,000 soldiers. Am I right?
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
They were called the Mighty Choctaw. Mighty Choctaw. Not Choctaw. Anybody tell you they're Choctaw? They after Andrew Jackson, who created the word Choctaw. Because we go back to these Catholic records, I ain't never been in them. You're going to run out the word Choctaw as you go back. When you get behind 1830, he ain't going to find nothing but Choctaw trees. Okay? And if y'all go on the internet, I told people, I said, before I tell y'all the real name, I'm going to have to keep it with them for a while because the thieves steals, okay? Now go on the internet and see how many people call themselves a Choctaw. Everybody got a Choctaw on something, say that's a liar, and that's a liar. Because all y'all knew was Choctaw, right? Now we need to ask America, where did all these Choctaw come from? Now everybody want the church and the government to pay them, am I right?
Yeah.
Now how y'all gonna pay them and y'all hand work either? Because you give them it ain't gonna work on you.
No.
All right, so the church don't have the money. United States is broke. We living off imaginary money and what they call that, whatever money that is, that's a joke in this right here. You gonna give me some doggone money that don't have no value and based on nothing? No. Learn from the enemy. Don't fall for that. Listen, what I'm telling you is an agreement. And right now you got people trying to call the church and the government. Everybody's shot out. If you pay everything on that internet, tell me, I just ask you to pay every shot out. The Pope himself will come down here and have to sell himself to us. Because there wouldn't be no money. Let's be realistic. If someone knew they were shot down, they should have been new. Okay? So the last, all the requests say, the last the Mighty Choctaw was 100 of us. And he was still trying to get community hold together. He said it was a base between Lacombe, Bonaparte, and Pass Christian. Pass Christian Church is represented here tonight. Where did he go? Where you at? Okay, that is also a person out of the church that Father Roquette talked about from that Bay St. Louis Pastor State. So we are gathering a roll call, like I told Tom. We're doing a census between those churches and those people that he was working with And I promised, I met with the fellow the other day, and when I told him I would bring to him the census account. I will bring to the census account. And if they not in that account, that's somebody trying to get a check. And we ain't about food stamp welfare, looking at making anybody lazy, okay? We're about finding the real folks. Now, I have a way to do that on my records. So I ain't gonna say that now because we on the internet and then somebody gonna pass it to somebody and they gonna make it hard for us to get our job done. It ain't about money. That's what's gonna hurt a lot of people. It's not about money. It's about respect. But there are people who thinking and saying on the internet about money. And that is what you're tearing up your churches and your communities and your families for money. So let me send a message to them now. We're not worried about no money. The church is broke. The United States is broke. We're too much fixing something. So we want you to be able, we're talking about a bigger mass. We're talking about a mass in December. We're talking about a bigger mass for the summer. And then by the summer, the people in Oklahoma, they might be here for the December mass, Jeff. From what they tell me, some of the people from Oklahoma will come back here. Talk to the real people. The people in Oklahoma, they were able to take their land from them. And now they're not even considered Indian, but I have their records that'll show you. If that paper say that their grandmother was Sumanaw, which is Choctaw Creek, and their grandmother was Creek, then that group, that whole group, that means they Indians. Because grandma was full-blood Indian. That's what Chief been looking at. They say you can't tell, like, oh, I do know how you can tell a real Indian. It's going to be in your paper. I used to say there's proof in the pudding. Okay? So, it's time now for the truth on who is the real Indian to stand up. I'm not talking about Elizabeth Warren. I'm that joke. See how far they got out of hand? You have people who done been on minority set-aside Indian funding that went all the way up into Washington. Don't have one drop Indian blood. So our tax money been paying for the wrong stuff, huh? So we done lost money paying something to somebody who wasn't up. But in Oklahoma, and I'm saying this with them on here, do you know an Indian my color and these ladies over here are silver and gentlemen over there are silver? They y'all age and they can't eat food that's provided. That's why I came to these gentlemen. They cannot eat government money, food, nothing. Under COVID, they was refused to give anything to them in Oklahoma. They didn't get any money. They got to pay to eat food for senior citizens. So I came to who's supposed to be the parents. They said, how we going to feed our people? And I'm telling y'all, I'm proud to work with these gentlemen. Because we're going to feed them people, y'all hear me? When senior citizens are denied food and health care because of the color of their skin in America, I am so tired of people talking about what Dr. King fought for. What he fought for ain't never happened. The Negroes still in bad shape and the Indians still in bad shape. So what did he do? You know what happened? Every bill been passed, somebody can magically move who it was passed for, fall under the table and somebody else surfaces and benefit. Are y'all with me? Mm-hmm. Now we need some accountability. And when your people get back what's rightfully theirs, and they get back mighty, then they can give back mighty to the church. Am I right about that? But if you don't have nothing, you have nothing else to give. So giving love and support can fill back those people with hope. And we can bring the truth out, which in return can fill the envelopes, okay? But you're not going to get envelopes full if I'm hungry. I'm going to get a burger. Okay? And this is where we're at now in society. We got to go back. All of us need to go home, get on our knees, and ask God to forgive us for the oversight and the undersight and the uneducated points. But I did remember reading this. See, my people will perish for the lack of knowledge. So I'm giving you enough knowledge tonight to plant the seed. Now it's up to you to go home and research anything I say. And you can go on the internet, you can put it on front page. Y'all know Sharon do news stuff, she know how to get it out there for us. And you can say Chief Walls is the biggest lie I ever saw. And I will not get mad, but I ain't lying. But you can check me on it if you find me in it. But I'm showing y'all 3 leaders that I'm respecting. There was only 100 Indians left here. Now in Macomb, there were some Indians who migrated later. They didn't have no land. So our people make sure they took care of the woods. Why would I have to be wandering through the woods with Nicholas Dupree, who was the Al-Qaeda and all this with the Cabildo was our grandfather? Cuz why would we be doing that when we got land patents, right, cuz? So we wasn't landless. So who was the landless Indians? There were other Indians who may drift from Biloxi and other places and came. Okay, y'all? But the Indians that was here was secured by the church and by Nicholas Dupree at the Cabildo. And I'm a granddaughter of Nicholas Dupree. Okay, stand up, Nicholas Dupree, grandson. I'm one. Hey, man, stand up. Nicholas Dupree still lives. As long as, stand up. He still lives in us. And every Dupree is not an Indian. Am I right, cousin? Because he had more than one wife. But we're the Indian children, and we're the one with the land patents. Y'all with me now? We were the people that could open doors for churches to be built. We are the first families in this area because first, before Nicholas Dupree, our grandmothers was Indians in this area. Okay? So we are still our grandfather. As long as any one of us are standing. Okay? So this is what I want to say. Do me a favor. I don't know when we're going to do it, Sharon. Y'all give me Sharon. Let's just have a dialogue. That'll work? Let's ask questions and see how we can fix my community and our churches. Now, sir, I know you got to tell us something, but I think, see, you're a good witness. Don't y'all like him? But we're not lying to you. He can be proven. Am I correct on that?
You're absolutely right.
Take the mic.
I don't know what Deacon Reggie wants me to say, but I've worked with Tom, the last several years, and with Deacon Reggie, with the Catholic Campaign for Human Development. I think that's what Deacon Reggie's referring to. I work with Catholic Charities, and I've been up here at St. Margaret Mary and doing a few presentations, one about a month ago, right? On the Provide Our Hearts. And so it's a great parish and a great community, and encourage you to keep up the great work. Thanks.
He's not going to get away with it. Okay? He's here for the long duration. He can't die either, right? I'm tired every time we get a good group together, somebody start thinking it's time for them to die. And we got some work to do, all right? Do anyone have any question? There is no question you can ask me that can insult me. Like I said, I'm a national and international civil rights leader, so I've heard everything. Okay? So do anyone have any questions to ask me or these gentlemen up here? Any questions? Man, that means we did good. Okay, we got a question over there. Oh, that was a good question. That was a good question. The converts of Parish Christian, which was once a part of West Florida. I want to know when of y'all gonna come to that part of West Florida. Good question. I guess we have to go back to your church and talk to your priest and all that stuff. Don't it sound like?
You have to give us an invitation.
There you go.
I gotta have to quit. You should have told me that. They're gonna work on that tomorrow.
I got a question for Kevin. What do you think about the Knights bringing up about the doctrine of discovery and that document? Because I know it came up when we were talking about you did some teaching on social justice, Catholic social teaching. What do you think about them bringing up the doctrine of discovery and how that's going to change how it's maybe taught? Is it going to be taught?
Well, I don't know if the doctrine of discovery will be taught in public schools or Catholic schools or anywhere. However, I thought that the important thing was it was a very balanced documentary. I thought it might, at first I thought it might be very sanitized and only tell a one-sided history, but I think it told the whole story as well as you can in just about an hour. So, I think there was some ownership of our failures both as U.S. citizens and as Catholics. And I think that's the most important part, to take responsibility for our failures in history as a beginning for reconciliation and reparation. I hope that answers your question. I don't know what's going to I don't have a crystal
Everyone in here know what the
ball.
doctor of discovery is? Have y'all read it? Anyone know what the doctor of discovery? Don't be ashamed now, let me tell you. We perish for the lack of knowledge. There ain't nothing to be ashamed about. You get smart when you say, I don't know, and somebody tell you. That's the only way you get smart, okay? Anyone in here don't know what the doctor of discovery have done? There you go. See, that's why I want to make it. Come on now.
I'm sorry.
Well, let me tell you what we're going to do. You're going to go over there by Sharon.
I gotta go figure it out now?
No. I'm fixing to do something special for you. You're going to go over there by Sharon and give her your name and your number. And the next time we come back together again, you're going to tell us what the doctor was doing. That work? Because you're going to learn from Chief Warhorse, one-on-one. And I think Sheldon, I'm going to tell you, Sheldon mom over there, that's going to be a good class for her. I want you to learn it. Because when you learn it, then you'll see. We're not here to create anger as a tribe. And I'm like my fellow kin folks to Dakota saying they're not looking for enemies either. I'm here for us to heal. I told Kellogg, what was that, 2012 or whenever, they asked me to be their speaker for Healing of America. And I messed around and I talked about the Doctor of Discovery there too. Doctor of Discovery been tormenting me since way back. Because every time you bring it up, people that nobody just would shut up because nobody don't know what to do with it, nobody will own up to it. Okay? It's a very embarrassing piece of material that caused a lot of issues. Not only on this continent, but on other continents too. Okay? But it's something that needs to be discussed. And Sharon, maybe you and I will do a podcast on the Doctrine of Discovery. That way it'll be available for people to be able to see. It's the way you teach. And I see on the internet people are trying to bring old documents and create hatred. That's not what we're here to do. Like I told Kellogg, we're going to walk down the pretty, the ugly, and the bad. Good, bad, and ugly. But we don't want to come out of it with hatred. We want to come out of it with a learning so that we can help heal America. Do y'all know everything, including the Civil Rights Movement, came from down here in the Deep South? Now, they tell you about Georgia and Alabama. SCLC was founded on this side of the river. In New Orleans, on this side, West Florida. So all the good stuff came out of West Florida. All the things came out of the Gulf Coast. Check it out. All the way back to France, Spain, everybody. All the good stuff started here. And then it moves. So now we need to take our spiritual wealth, okay? And take that spiritual wealth and unity, and let's tell the truth. You know, truth tear down barriers, okay? It exposes the devil. And then all the fathers can run over him with the cross, okay? See, Father over there, he got to have our back. And Deacon Reggie and them can put him in the trash can because we need to get the devil out of here, all right? So let's clean up our spiritual connections here. Well, we can stand before America and say, you got every race you can name in West Florida. And the Indians have mixed with just about every last one of them. Okay? Or should I say every last one of them mixed with the Indian? Either way it goes. If I look at my tribal members, they go from white that can't get a tan to black that don't need one. Just get out of sight. And I love all of them equally. We're going to go beyond. We're going to show about how we're going beyond color, beyond religion, and whatever stuff that's in our church and house, we're going to clean it up and get it out. That sounds good. Can we meet on that and agree? Let's all raise our hand and agree and say, in Jesus' name, amen.